if you want your children to be good at science, math, and medicine, encourage them in their music lessons and encourage their music instructors to teach them music theory. All right, so that's adding a little bit on to what I've said in the previous videos. My name is Tim. I'm the Jazzy Chemist. I'm a professional chemist and an amateur jazz saxophone player. And we're in the middle of a series on famous scientists who were also very accomplished musicians. We started with Max Planck. We've talked about Albert Einstein, Werner Heisenberg. Today we're going to talk about Edward Teller. Edward Teller is not a Nobel Prize winner. Most of the people in this series are going to be Nobel Prize winners. Edward Teller never got a Nobel Prize. He probably deserved one or more because of his scientific work, but there were a lot of reasons for him not to get a Nobel Prize in his day. Many of them were political, but he ended up not getting a Nobel Prize. He was a Hungarian-American physicist who lived from 1908 till 2003, so very, very long lifespan. He was married for 66 years, had a very successful and, as far as we know, happy marriage throughout his adult life. I know him as a chemist because of the Jan Teller effect. So if you've studied inorganic chemistry or particular areas in organic chemistry, the Jan Teller effect gives us some really neat insight and information into molecular symmetry and asymmetry and how that plays out in the structure of the molecules and how they interact with light. And so it's very, very important chemistry discovery. More than likely, most of you know him as this guy. So that's the actor that played Edward Teller in the movie Oppenheimer that was out this past summer. There's an actual picture of Edward Teller right next to it. So I stole this picture off the internet. But he is portrayed in the movie Oppenheimer as the one scientist who testified against Oppenheimer at his clearance hearings. As a result, that's part of the reason he was ostracized from the science community. He became very unpopular with his folks. That's part of the reason he doesn't have a Nobel Prize. In general, people who have very successful work on improving weapons and advancing war often also don't get Nobel Prizes. And again, that's political reasons, or you could call it political reasons. But he was a major player in the development of nuclear science, especially nuclear power plants, the atom bomb. He worked on the Manhattan Project. He was a big player in the development of the hydrogen bomb, the next level, or what he called in the movie the super, the next level atomic bomb. And in addition to all of that, he was also a very gifted piano player. He started taking piano lessons when he was very young. He didn't enjoy it at first because his piano teacher was very mechanical, just focusing on finger movements and hitting notes. And so it was boring to him. It was rote memory. It was, he just didn't enjoy it. He loved listening to his mother play Beethoven sonatas. At some point, they moved away from Budapest. He got a different piano teacher. And during that time, this teacher focused on not only teaching him the movements of piano, but on musical theory, on helping him understand harmony from a mathematical perspective, on helping him understand the mathematics behind the construction of a sonata, and teaching him that as part of his playing, and he loved it. And if he has said himself in an interview I just watched online that if that person had stayed his piano teacher, he probably would have become a professional musician instead of a physicist. But at some point they moved back to Budapest, and he got a new piano teacher, and the new piano teacher was, again, very much into the mechanics of getting the fingers right and not thinking about the construction of the melodies and the harmonies. And he, again, became frustrated with piano and started to move into physics and mathematics. The seed was sown by that point. He learned to think about music mathematically and to see the beauty in the math of music. And that caused him to be able to better see the beauty in the math of physics. And so even into his late 30s, when he was working on the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos, he was an annoyance to his neighbors because he would play his piano late at night, probably as he was trying to work out some mathematical physics problem, thinking out the math of the piano works he was playing allowed his brain to work in parallel on those two things and give him extra insight into both. So he played piano in his spare time all the way into and through his adult years. If you're interested in Teller, he's a very interesting character in history. People love him or hate him. There are a lot of neat resources online, in addition to written biographies like there are for a lot of scientists. There are on YouTube a whole collection of videos of him speaking where he's just, when he's very, very old, toward the end of his life, being interviewed. And you can learn a lot more about Edward Teller that way. If you're enjoying this content, if you like these little videos about scientific musicians or musicians who were scientists, then let me know by hitting the like button, by following me, by commenting in the comment section. I've got at least 8 more of these planned in addition to the ones that are already posted, and that's Max Planck, Albert Einstein, and Werner Heisenberg, who are all professional grade musicians. And we're going to talk about several others, including Ludwig Boltzmann and some more modern scientists as well. So follow me to see those. In the meantime, in between, I'll continue posting some recordings of me, hopefully getting better at jazz by working through those Lenny Niehaus exercises and tunes on my saxophone. Have fun, stay safe, get your kids music lessons, and play your saxophone.